Yo, you know who it is. Griddle's hot, rumors fly, but the bap's still banging. Let's go! I'm the Batman, Belfast, born and bred. Flipping fried eggs while they talk on threads. They tweet that beef, but I bring real meat. Bacon stacked high, Bat game elite. They chat like they know me, they don't know jack. Talking mad smoke while I'm serving a stack. Hash brown hot with the yolk that runs. I break more fast than 100 nuns. They hate, they try to cancel my stand. Still flipping bats with one greasy hand. False accusations and I ain't shook. My grill speaks louder than 1,000 looks. Yo, I serve bats, not opinions, fam. You want drama? I'm cooking up jam. Code ring to clap back, I'm still the man. You don't like it? Get out of my van. Got pride in my pant, not in picking a side. I feed all people, I don't divide. They say I'm this, then say I'm that, while I'm pressing down cheese in a toasted bat. No labels here, just table salt. My only bias, I don't serve cold. They call me a hater, say I cross lines. Bro, just seasoning fries with rhymes. They hate, they try to cancel my stand. Still flipping bats with one greasy hand.
Okay, so good to go. So welcome to this episode of the Belfast Babcast. Today we have on with us Shane Rafferty. So Shane is a transgender man, so born a woman. And today we're just going to go through some questions, and obviously as the world seems to know, my ideology doesn't agree, so we want to show that two people can sit across the table and have a conversation, all nonetheless. So I think first things first, Shane, I'd like to get to know a wee bit about you growing up. Like, how was things as a child? So what was childhood like? And
my childhood wasn't bad.
First memories for like first memories or
memories. I had a good childhood. I have brothers and sisters. We do communicate, but in our own wee way. Do you know what I mean? I was very close to my mother, but I lost her when I was 10.
Okay.
So things kind of progressed from there. It didn't go great after that. Let's put it that way. I was very close to my mother. I was kind of past pillar to post. Just didn't know what to do with me, do you know what I mean? So I suppose to be honest with you, I was a problem child. I got into the drink, I got into the drugs, bad background and stuff like that. But as regards to being trans, I always knew I was different from a young age.
Yeah.
Very young
so
age.
You would say like up to 10 years old, life very stable because
I had a great family, good stability, and, yeah, everything.
Don't mind me asking about father.
Father, he was there, but he worked as a seaman, so he's away at sea an awful lot of the time. So
offshore.
He was, he worked for Shell, so he wasn't really there all the time. Do you know what I mean? So
and
it was more close to my mother, if you know what I mean.
You said there that you knew early, that you felt different.
Yeah. Totally.
So what sort of age?
About 5 or 6. So I did. I never felt girly, as people would call it, in any shape or form. I didn't, it was weird because I just didn't feel, I didn't want to play with girls' toys. My father and all were buying me like little girls' toys and all this. I didn't want them. Okay. I wanted to play with cars, I wanted to play with trucks, I wanted to ride bikes, I wanted to, do you know what I mean? I wanted to be the big, like my brothers.
Like tomboy.
But, yeah, Now, it could have been construed as tomboy. I didn't know, obviously, at that age what I was feeling the way I was feeling. So I never did anything about it, and I just felt, growing up over the years, I battled with myself because I went through the stage of I'm a lesbian because I fancy women.
Okay.
You think, right, that's what I'm going. Yeah. I know you can relate to that. Yeah. but I thought, okay, I must be a lesbian because I fancy women. Do you know what I mean? I was telling my friend Jackie earlier, when I was younger, when you grow up, some kids dream of being, I want to be a police officer, I want to be or I want to be a policewoman, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be this, I want to be that. I wanted to be, how I can describe it is, I wanted to be the knight in shining armour that would go and find his woman and, marry her and make love to her and make babies and the family thing. that's what I felt inside that I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
I appreciate that, yes, and I understand that. And obviously, from outside looking in, that, how would you put it? Like it sounds almost like fantasy, almost like the thoughts wise to me. That's how I get through it. But I'm saying there's a lived experience that I don't have, so this is how I would view it from the outside looking in. So you're saying this.
I can say that.
Like as a child, I wanted to be a lot of different things. Do you know what I mean? Would you
a lot
say
of kids do though
that there was confusion present and it accelerated at 10 maybe when you started going off the rails, or
what way would you mean that? What way
so you're having all these questions and to me, obviously at that point you were a girl, so if you fancied women, you essentially you were a lesbian.
Yeah.
You know. So like then, whenever your mother passed, was it then you really started to question, or?
I don't think I really questioned it. When my mother passed away, because she was very, very close to me, I went off the rails because of that. It was nothing to do with my sexuality. It was nothing to do with my gender or anything like that. It was just because I was close to my mother, and I didn't have that family stability anymore. So.
Are you pre or post-op? I've never even asked.
Oh, I haven't had the surgery. I'm going for surgery, so I am in top surgery in September. So I am.
And there's obviously been a big mental health journey with this as well, because it goes side and side. And what, like, how low have you experienced, or how?
I've self-harmed. I haven't cut anything off. I know there's ones that have been worse than me that have actually gone physically cut bits off themselves. Because I don't want to get too graphic in for people. It's not too much. But I have self-harmed. I have tried DOD. I'm openly admit that, because I wasn't at that time. I didn't know anything about being trans. As far as I was concerned, I was a lesbian. I knew nothing about transgender.
What time?
This would have been when I was about, I would say, 18, 19. I think I came out as lesbian to my family. Okay. Because I was attracted to women, and I thought that's what it was. Do you know what I mean? I thought this is what it is. And I knew nothing about trans until, I would say, late 30s, early 40s. I'm 49 now. I only came out 3 years ago. You know, there was no information, nothing for me to know about it. And it was only getting into the LGBT community that I got to know people and got to talk to people and talk to other transgender people, and find out that I had similarities with them and how they felt. And it's what we feel inside. It's not what's on the outside. You know, what you see on the outside. I mean, even as I was female, you know, before I had my hormones and all this here, you know, it wasn't the same as what's on the inside. This is why I'm trying to explain that, you know, that people, we never, I want this put down, that we never stated that we are not biological male and female when we're born. We've never said that, okay? This is something J.K. Rowling's come up with, okay? We never stated that. But what we try and explain is that it's what we feel on the inside is completely different to the outside.
I appreciate that, and I think the issue though lies that for a lot of your community, it's almost very dictatorial. So we have to use these pronouns, we have to do these things, you know, like they're trying to bend us to their will. And as much as I want to accept everyone for who they are and where they're at, I don't want to be made uncomfortable in my feelings as well. So, like, as much as I respect the story that you are telling me and believe it, and you know, you've lived that life, and you know, you're still never going to get my mind around it, if you understand. I have a better understanding of where you're coming from, you know. And I seen on a TikTok video you made in defense of me about suicide rates on one of the we were talking about suicide rates in the trans community on the first podcast, and basically that was based off a Swedish study, and they ran it over from was 1973 to 2003, and they found out that for average population, and this is post transition, that there is a 19 times higher suicide morbidity than in the general population, 5 times more suicide attempts, and after long-term follow-ups, still heightened risk of suicide. So I know you had said in that video that there's not the surgery, there's not the treatment out there. You know, the what I'm getting at is that there may be deeper seated mental issues at play, that there's now a growing number of people who have transitioned who want to detransition and are deeply annoyed at the people who affirmed them and jumped on board. And I think it's something that needs to be done very carefully, because even the diagnosis of transgenderism, or whatever the proper term is done on a feelings basis. You know, you go into, I've read the doctor's guide for how to diagnose it, and basically the patient self-presents and they say, I feel like a woman, and that's it, pretty much. And then they have to go through a process of
you don't just get
psychology. You don't just get medication. But what I'm saying is that's how the diagnosis is made. The person says, this is how I feel. They'll be put through all these rigors to make sure that, okay, is this really sure? Because it's a life-changing.
It's a big life-changing opportunity. I don't get me wrong. I obviously have never had puberty blockers. So I've had to go through,
What's your thoughts?
I'm on the fence with that one, to be fair. I think it's very difficult. I'd be honest with you, it's a very difficult one, that one for me, because I've went through, I'm actually, at the minute, because I'm on hormones, right? I'm actually going through the menopause as well as going through puberty. Okay?
Double whammy.
Double whammy, yeah. So believe me, I did not just get up out of bed and go, whoo, I want to be a boy today. Because that's sure as hell not what I want to be doing.
Putting in the
Trust me, the shit that I'm, pardon my French, but the stuff I'm going through at the minute. But, the puberty blockers would help. But as you say, it needs to be assessed properly. Because yes, there is ones that very few, but there is ones that have detransition.
So
they're, sorry to interrupt, but it's just, that with the puberty blockers, they would work because if they stop, obviously, the breast developing and stuff. Therefore, you're going to save an awful lot of money in the NHS for going and getting surgery. The surgery's an awful lot, right?
The age that they're, considering giving puberty blockers to, I'm thinking here, if you're not going to allow a person of that age to get a tattoo, buy a drink, get smoke,
I think there should be an age limit on it.
Should they really be allowed to be given irreversible drugs?
It needs to be. I am on with you on that. I think it needs to be looked at more. That's my personal opinion on it. Okay.
And there's many opinions.
There's ones trans people will disagree with me on that, and that's fine. Yet again, opinion. Okay.
Because how often? I mean, let's be honest. How often, as a child, kids are whimsical as anything. Do you know what I mean? It could be, I want to be this 1 minute, and then granted, yes, yours very deep seated. Some may not be as deep seated as yours. But I'm just saying
everybody's on a different journey with that, and I understand
that. It's not life in general.
Yeah, I understand that. I completely understand where you and everybody in your position is coming from.
But,
I completely totally.
So counteracting the study, so just to be level with this, so study B was a Danish registry study done in 2023. It was a group of 3,759 trans identifying people tracked from 1980 to 2021. Tracked at a 7.7 times more suicide attempts, 3.5 times more suicide deaths, did not differentiate between pre and post transition, and did not isolate the impact of medical intervention. So basically, there's no empirical data there. You know, that's almost like a study that's been put together just to give better figures.
Right.
Whereas the Swedish study has took a target group over 30 years, and they followed them after the transition. Like, granted, the drugs and stuff have changed since then, because that was 1973 that it started in. And the Danish study was started in 1980, so like a difference obviously in the drug levels, etc., and the surgical procedures, but certainly the parameters of the Swedish study are a lot more concise, and they're giving you actual data on, you know, post transition patients, as opposed to just identifying post. It could be anybody, you know what I mean? That's not it's not a target audience as such. But even still, when lumping them everyone together, it's still 7.7 times more suicide rate. Like, why is there such high? If surgery and affirming identity or gender doesn't stop the suicide, like, what is the problem? Like, why is there such a high suicide rate?
I couldn't answer. I can't. I mean, I haven't read that, so that's the first I've heard of that.
No, granted. Sorry for talking
because I haven't read that. Yeah. But I know where I can understand where you're coming from completely. Don't think I don't, because I do. But I couldn't answer that. I mean, I know before before getting surgery, I've been self-harming because I don't like myself, my body. This is what, I just don't like me. And plus the fact it was, nobody was there to help me to be who I want to be.
Physical you or are you though? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of times in life I've really, really hated myself, like, and I've been self-harm, suicidal as well, and like, I've maybe wanted to make some very like knee-jerk decisions, at those times, and did and have, and I've been a heroin addict, etc., all the rest. But so I'm not coming at this from somebody who doesn't have like life experience. I've been around a few years, but like, before what I would call mutilating yourself, maybe there's a spiritual journey to go on, and maybe there's happiness to be found within the body you were born in.
There could be, but there's not. I for 40 years I've been miserable with the body that I have.
Okay.
I've actually been physically sick. Didn't like it. My brother got married. I had to wear not the wedding dress, obviously. Had to wear bridesmaid's dress. Yeah. To any drag men, if they're watching, drag queens watching this, and no offense to them, but I felt like a drag queen. I felt out of sorts. It didn't feel right. It just didn't. It's like me saying to you, put a dress on. How would you feel? I felt uncomfortable. You'd probably run away from it, to be fair. To be honest with you, you're the type of person to run up and down the fucking street. But do you know what I mean? It's a point that I'm trying to make across, It's like asking you to walk down the street in a dress and in high heels. How uncomfortable would you feel? I feel very uncomfortable, and that's how I feel with my body.
And I fully believe what you're saying.
I'm not. I do not. This is something I did. If I could be a woman that I was biologically, I would love to be. But it doesn't make me feel it. When I came out as being transgender, it was like somebody took a weight off my shoulders and went, "Oh, finally I can be me.
Yeah,
I'm me." And I know I understand it. What you have to understand, it's very hard for us to understand. Okay.
100%.
So for us, if we find it hard to understand, we completely understand that you, cis people, as well they call cis people,
cis white.
Some of these names and things, I'm in my 40s. Come on, I'm with you on that. You know what I mean?
Just in the 40s.
Shut up. But it's hard for us to understand. So I completely get where you and everybody else are coming from, but I just, I'm not happy being. Why should I be? I would be before I transitioned, right, and I was basically female, okay, biologically female. I was doing things to make people like you and Jackie and my family happy. But I was miserable inside.
Yeah.
And that's why I was hurting myself and cutting myself and drinking myself and drugging myself.
This is one
and
animal to another animal. I would never deny you to live your life the way you live your life.
I just don't understand why people want so much hatred.
And I'm not
it's misunderstanding. I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad guy.
It's misunderstanding, I think, because from my point of view, a vast majority of the transgender community seem to think that not agreeing with their opinion is an attack on them, or that you hate them or whatever, but it's not. Like clearly this is coming from a place of concern, and the reason why I'm going into the suicide rates is because where most people's issues lie with trans ideology is the fact that it's now kind of being pushed upon children. And now bear with me.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
And given the high suicide rates, should that not be something that children discover by themselves?
They will. I can't, because I can't explain your feelings, obviously, because nobody's ever going to feel the way you feel, okay? But if your child is trans, which I was, okay, okay, in your heart of heart, you will know, okay? Yes, children will grow up and children will be, they want to be tomboys, some might be gay, some might be straight, some might be. I've always said this, let your child be as they are. Let them grow up and let them make their own decision. Okay?
So
because you can't change. Everybody changes as they grow up. Because you don't mature until you're what? You're not mature until at least, later on, but the brain, I'm talking about the brain, psychologically apparently you're not
child's brain
mature
is so
until actually 25.
It's so malleable.
So.
Like it's,
yeah.
But that's why it's, to me, to introduce any ideology, may it be Christian ideology, may it be whatever, to a child is harmful. They should be able to discover things by themselves.
We're not trying to push. I don't see where this is coming from, that we're trying to push.
I'm not saying you're trying to push, but I'll tell you where it's coming from.
Can I just say something for a wee second, and to your viewers as well? There's two people on TikTok that I want to talk about and say that I disagree with as being, and they're saying that they're trans and they're not. It was Lily Tino from America, and the other one is Orion Doherty, Alphabet, who's putting the bad press out on trans people. He's basically saying that he's trans. He's been transitioning for 4 years. He's no intentions of transitioning. He's on there to beg for money and play.
There's always,
and he's given. It's people like him that get bad press on us, because it's like this J.K. Rowling thing with the toilet. Why does everything go boil down to the toilets? We're not in. I don't know about you, but I go to the toilet for generally what you go to the toilet for. But what I want viewers to understand is that when we do transition, when we're the start of our transition, part of that transition, okay, we are not given any hormones whatsoever for at least 2 years. Okay, we have to live as said gender. Now, I could still look female, and men will still look male. Do you know what I mean?
On the whole, people don't have an issue with women. It's the men going into
this is what I'm trying to explain. This is what I'm trying to explain. I know. This is what I'm trying to explain for the trans women, that I know there's a lot of issues, and I know you see a man get into the toilet with a dress on and all that stuff.
That's never not going to be an issue, though.
Sorry?
That's never not going to be an issue.
I know it's not going to be, but the problem is, the problem with that is, you see, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. Because when we have to live as said gender for 2 years.
I appreciate that, but why does society have to live along with you? Do you know what I mean? Why does society have to?
I didn't make that rule up, though. That's the problem. You see, I didn't make that rule up.
I'm not saying it's your fault. But I'm saying, why should a woman in a bathroom with their child feel uncomfortable?
No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't feel uncomfortable, but they should.
So where do you draw
trans
the line?
Women need some women need to understand that trans women, they feel like women. Do you know what I mean? And what you see different to their face, because not a lot of them have got the money to go and get the surgery,
Well,
for
to be
facial
honest,
stuff and all that.
quite a lot of them make a very little effort, like
Well,
even like shaving their facial hair. Do you know what I mean? Like some.
Well, I haven't seen ones like that, and I'll be honest with you.
Oh,
Now,
I have.
If you have, then that's.
Do you know what I mean? And like, you're still
There's a lot of us
expected
we're all on different journeys.
We
Okay,
are, yeah.
we're all on different journeys, and I understand that. And the bathroom thing, it does need looked at. I agree with you on that one because
boils
it's
down
just.
to that because.
But I do want people to know that we are not there to threaten your kids. I'm not, because I'm personally going to that toilet.
But
to
you
use
may
the
not
toilet.
be. You may not be, and B may not be, C may not be, D may not be, but that
there
one
may be
person may
yes,
be.
you're right.
And like,
you're right in that
you know,
one, yeah.
if there's a chance of that happening, then it should be a no.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand that you're transitioning and you have to live as that assigned gender for, was it 3 years before?
It's for 2 years.
2 years.
You're supposed to live as that assigned gender. Like for instance, for me, it would be wearing men's clothes and all that there, and
I just think there's so many.
which I was doing anyway, but.
So many concessions that the cis people are just expected to make because you're on your journey. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I appreciate your journey, but nobody makes any accountability for my journey or his journey or whoever's journey. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think maybe we could I'm talking about from the transgender community as well as the other people to sit down and have a conversation about it? Would that be possible to do? Instead of fighting over who's going to use what toilet and da-da-da.
Yeah, I think
maybe could we, would that be able to, I don't know, I'm asking your viewers, maybe they might know,
I think the biggest takeaway
needs to be looked at.
from people
I agree
that
with
have
that.
my point of view is there's no hatred at all towards individual people and the way you want to live your life, but it's encroaching upon our lives. And, for example, whenever I owned the gym down Hill Road,
I kind of vaguely seen all that. I didn't get the whole
messages back and forth about coming to the gym, and then at the end of the conversation said, by the way, I'm a transgender woman, don't know whether that would be an issue or not. And I was like, well, personally it would, so good luck. That was it. And then seen the post of it and wrote, make sure and post that on social media for attention. And the hatred and death threats and all sorts you get from the trans community, to be honest, on the whole, even since putting up an hour ago about interviewing you and a picture of the set, I've had over 22 one-star reviews on Google, which is okay.
I don't know what that means. So.
But it means basically I'm big bad man that doesn't like trans people, so that's one star.
No, that's not what I say, and that's why I'm sitting here with you, because I wouldn't, if I thought you were any threat to the trans community, I wouldn't be here. And I personally, I am here because I'm actually here because I want people to understand that we can sit together and we can have a conversation and we can talk about this, and I think it's something that we do need to sit down and talk about.
And very
Stephen Nolan can go and shove it up. Do you know what I mean? That's
very, very awkward
don't like that, man.
things for you to talk about, and big respect for coming on today.
Well, I thank you. I thank you for letting me come down here, and I certainly for coming into your shop. I don't feel you under any threat at all. I don't, and I never have. And I want the trans community to see this, and to see that you're not a threat. That you have opinions. Anybody can have a voice and opinion on things.
I think it's because
hate people because of it. Do you know what I mean?
When people come at me online, I go back 3 times as hard. And
I think you're like me. I'm a bit the same.
I'm a bit of a prick. So it's
I'll admit the same because I do the same too.
It's okay to hate me. I'm a bit of a prick, but it's
I want to get angry. Do you know what I mean? But
there's no hatred against any entire community or any individual. If anything, and this sounds bad, but it's coming from a place of I feel sorry for I almost feel because I do see it as a mental health issue as opposed to a gender issue, I never will see it any different.
Okay, I understand that.
I just feel that you've either not been given the proper assessment or not been given the proper help, and there's been so many people mutilated themselves, so many people have killed themselves, and that's why I really, really struggle with like the Northern Ireland's policy for teachers towards kids. So 3 years and up, you just have to affirm whatever gender they decide, whether or not the parent agrees.
I know nothing about that. I know nothing about these things.
So that's just but this is not on you either. Do you know what I mean?
I don't make these things.
And that's the main thing to know here. And this is not on all trans people either. But these are the policies being made in Stormont and, you know, wherever. And
that I don't think's right.
That's right. You know what I mean? So you goes, I want to be a boy today, yeah, no matter. And the parent says no, but they can still go ahead and.
But kids are kids. Kids, do you know what I mean? Kids are going to run about and go out and this time that. No, let them be.
Exactly.
This is what I'm saying. Let kids be kids. I've never said that like kid because I obviously my childhood because I lost my parent at 10. Do you know my mum? She was my best friend and I lost her. Yeah, I had to grow up pretty quick from that. Do you know what I mean? I had
Did any other family members like sort of step in and take any?
I lived with my sister in England, so I did. And then moved back over here with my dad. So I and then I got into a bad crowd who took drugs and drink, and that's where my life spiraled out of control. You know, obviously, you know yourself what drinking drugs can do to you, you know.
Especially the tablets,
when you're going through things, your head's totally, you know what I mean?
So where are you at now mentally?
Mentally, I am absolutely fine. I'm me. I'm a transgender man. As far as I'm concerned, my friend Jackie there, she will still misgender me and call me she. And you know something, this is another thing.
What was your dead name?
I can say my dead name, it doesn't bother me, it was Sinead.
Sinead,
yeah.
Okay.
I have no problems with that. Now, some trans people will have an issue with that because they want to be passed. But Jackie said, you know, I'm me. I'm now out as me and I'm happy. Now, whether you call me Sinead or whether you call me she or whether you call me he or he, she, he, whatever, that goes over my head.
It's words, mate.
Because, exactly, it's words. When I'm me, this is me. And, you know, you either like me or you don't like me. I'm like Marmite, do you know what I mean? You know,
but you know what you feel the thing too? You're trans man, but like, you're more than that.
But
so
I'm still,
I'm
still biologically, I'm never denied it once I'm biologically female.
Biologically
born,
female,
never
but
denied any of that.
leaving gender out of it.
Yeah.
What's your aspirations? What's your hopes? Like, what do you want to get out of life? So you've got to now, and you've, from what I can gather, been living an internal battle along with an external battle with drinking drugs.
Well, I came off the drink, so I did, for 3 years till I got my head showered, till I get myself sorted with my trans issues. I'm out, I'm trans. I've never been happier and prouder in my whole entire life. I am 49 years of age now, and I wish I'd come out a bit sooner, but life.
Set that aside, but
what do I want out of the future?
What do you want out of the future?
Out of my future, I do want to help the trans community, but I want the trans community. I want everybody. It's not going to be possible probably, but I want people to be able to live and let live. I want people to be happy. That's all I want in life. I don't ask for many things, but I would like people to live and let live. You know, be able to go down the road and just pass off with Joe Blogs. You know what I mean?
But do you have any aspirations of any type of work you would like to do, or?
I don't think I would do anything. I've been doing kitchen. I'm a kitchen porter. I've kitchen porter in my soul.
That's good, honest work.
I have been doing it for 25 years of my life, and I've tried to get out of it. I went into care work. I went into and I keep going back to the
care
kitchen.
Work's different.
You have all mentioned understand it's like the kitchen.
Well, it's the only place you will work with,
and I love it because it's hard work.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Even though it's hard work, I just love it. So I do.
And where do you work?
I work in Hollywood Golf Club, so I do.
All right.
You know, I go up there and I've got my, you know, I'm slowing down now. I'm not getting any younger, but you know, it does me. I do my work and I go home and chill out and relax. I can do what I want. You know what I mean? I'm single. I'm not out there.
By yourself?
I'm single. You know, don't get me wrong. There's women and all wanting to have conversations with me. You know, I'm not interested. I'm me. I'm finally me, and I'm just happy.
You're happy for now.
I'm
just
happy for me to be me. To be living me. I don't want to be walking into Belfast and being scared to go into the toilet because somebody's going to miss. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to get a hide. This is what I don't want. And you know,
but that's not out there though.
There has been some attacks in Belfast, so there has. But it kind of puts the fear of God in some of us. Do you know what I mean? To not go out. I would love to go out, but sometimes I'm a wee bit scared.
Optics
Because there is one or two idiots out there, like, you know, you have to
But
agree
that's
there is
it.
fucking, there's
Understand.
one or two.
There's one or two.
Yeah, exactly. There's one or two in
the
each
other
in type of community. Do you know what I mean?
992 that don't agree.
I'm not saying everybody's a
are
bad
sweet.
person. Never have.
It's just like, you know, it is one or two idiots, and, you know, violence is never the answer to any dispute. You know, if it's civil discourse.
I would, though, like, if possible, maybe somehow come together and try and sort this issue out with these toilets, because, or, you know, things that use, what, you know,
the only way it's
be,
be sorted is a separate toilet.
Everything, you know, I'm transgender, but I'm not like someone who's going to fart down your throat and expect you to you have to believe in everything I do. This shouldn't be. This is what I want people to understand, and I want the trans community as well to understand that you can't just sit there and go, I'm going to shove this down your throat. You have to listen to me. No, you don't, because you have your life to live completely different, and you do not have to believe in everything that I you know about I'm living.
To achieve what you're talking about, is another gripe though, is because like it's going to require more public money to either make a separate bathroom or to amend current bathrooms or to do something. You know, it's going to require more public funding. People are annoyed as it is that public funding goes into this sort of thing anyway, because they disagree with it as an ideology. However, you know, from speaking to you and beforehand, I'm fully supportive of everybody, you know, should have access to mental health care, because that's clearly where it starts and stops. You know, like, not to keep harping back about the suicide rate, like, it's if it was making people happy, there wouldn't be such exponential deaths, and I think there's a bigger conversation needing had within the transgender community, and then there's a larger conversation needing had with the whole community, because there's clearly a lot of stuff that on the whole you seem to lie to yourselves about, because affirmation and surgery does not really like harpen. Initially it does for the first year or so. It shows like you know, a drop in suicide rates, but then as time goes on, 10 years on down the line.
So you think for me that I'm going to go get top surgery and then I'm going to really hate myself at the end of the year? Is that what you think is going to happen, or you think
I don't know.
Mentally downhill?
I just really. It would be a fear. I wouldn't say after a year.
My mental health is 110%. From years and years ago, growing up, my mental health was so bad.
It's clear to see you're on platform. I'm not questioning your mental health.
You know, but I can't. You see, I can't. Everybody's individual, and everybody's in different journeys. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I spoke to a guy there recently, last night on TikTok, and he's detransitioning. Okay. And the reason he's detransitioning is because he was transitioning on his own with no medical help whatsoever. And a lot of them tend to do that because the NHS, we have one place in here in Northern Ireland, Brackenburn, right? The waiting list is 7 years minimum. Now, a lot of people, obviously a lot of trans, they want to do it really quick. Everybody wants to get in there and want to get their hormones. A lot of them are doing self-medicating. And this is where the problem and the dangers are, because they're not getting seen by mental health teams. They're not getting seen by psychologists, the proper professionals that they should be seen. And, you know, when you don't have that professional help and you're doing it all by yourself,
so do you feel
that's where you're going, that's where things are going to go wrong. So that's why he's come back and he's going to detransition. He told me he's transgender woman, but he's not ready to do it yet because he's not got the support there. You know, the support isn't there. It's very difficult.
It's all
this is why, you know, it's like, you know, and mental health at the minute, you know, I'm sure you're aware yourself, mental health teams are, I don't know at the minute. There's too many people out there suffering from mental
funding.
Health. There's never funding for anything in this country, is there?
The services are stretched to breaking point.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other conversation as well.
Totally.
And I think, like, Shane, it's clear to see you're a lovely guy, and I wouldn't question your mental health. You seem to be very, very,
No, I'm on top floor, believe me. If you'd have met me a few years ago, you'd have known it.
We have just met today, so
yeah.
it's not like we haven't
met No, this first time I met this guy.
Really, just a couple of questions to close up. So,
no problem.
With the stuff that I've shown you about, and I'll show you on this afterwards about the suicide rates, etc.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you feel maybe there should be like a cut-off age, like 18 plus, where the conversation starts happening about transgender? Because, like, it's...
So the transgender community come for me for this, because they all, you know, a lot of them, I'm trying to think of when I was growing up, about would I have taken puberty blockers, would it have been a good idea? My personal point on that is I actually am glad I didn't. Okay? Now, a lot of them will disagree with that. And the reason I think that is because it let me go through how I'm feeling. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Because then I know who I really am. Because I went through the case of, okay, I don't feel like a girl. Maybe I'm a lesbian. Yeah, okay. And then I go through all these different other scenarios, and maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. So,
but the side effects as well of these drugs. So there's cancers. They use them.
There's side effects of every different drugs.
These are severe side effects on these ones, like so.
On the puberty blockers, you said.
On the puberty blockers.
Well, I again, in my defence, I haven't read anything of that, because I don't go into all that.
That's entirely fine. But we're talking about giving these to children. So, and also they give the same drugs to chemically castrate paedophiles. So, do you think
it's not going to work? Because that's been known not to work, not to happen.
I know. So
I know that for a fact.
They're still going to be.
I never read that one because it's never worked.
So, do you think? Can we agree at least that we should not be introducing children to these medications?
I think it needs looked at. Yeah.
We can debate all day about affirming or whatever their gender, but introducing them to such
puberty blocker,
like life changing.
From personal, as it's just stated, from my personal point of view, I'm glad I didn't take them. Let's put it that way, because at the end of the day, I went through who I am. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd grown up. But yeah, I had to grow up a bit quicker because obviously I didn't have my parents about.
Because,
do you know what I mean? But that was,
it's a life changing decision, and if that child, God forbid, a couple of months in, it's like, what am I doing? And like drops in a deeper pit of suicide. It drops.
I can see where you're coming from on that one. I can see where you're coming.
And that's genuinely like, this is like what's known as transphobia. Like this. These are the thoughts and the feelings that most people are having, bar those one or two people that will attack you in the toilet with a skittle or whatever. But like, most of us coming from informed concern. We have no issues with what any adult wants to do.
I understand that, and I understand that you're having issues with children, and I can see that. I mean, I understand that.
I'm not calling the trans people child abusers or anything.
No, we're not. But there is ones out there that are calling us child abusers. Yeah. I don't like that. Can I state for that? I don't like being called that, because
of course.
I protect children. I'm a very big protector. I don't have kids myself, but I do protect. I make sure that
it's like everything in life. So you keep referring to the trans community. I keep referring to the trans community, but like, all these things are made up of individuals, and in every group there'll be bad eggs, you know what I mean? So,
and it doesn't,
you always find an example of something to suit your narrative, and I'm sure these people online are vicious and say whatever. I certainly don't think that all trans people are like sex offenders or one of cat's kitties or anything like that.
Maybe, do you know what I mean? There is actually one or two that haven't caught.
Same in the heterosexual community.
Exactly. There's going to be bad apples in every place you go.
It's the same.
Catholic, Protestant, black, white, or whatever. There's always going to be something like that.
But correct. You said before you give an answer, the trans community are going to come at me for this.
Probably.
Why are they so visceral about things?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know why.
Like, it's almost like they feel like their life is a threat because you've disagreed. Because they come in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s.
To be honest with you, I don't understand that. And that's why I'm actually on here. Because I can't understand why, I don't see banging your drums and getting really angry and fired up and throwing things at people is not going to work. sitting at a table and have a conversation like you and me are doing, there's a different story.
I would say you've done a lot more today for the understanding of transgender journey, anyway, than most people have done in this country in the past 10 years, because it's all preachy and it has to be all this. You've said you've had a conversation, you've listened to the opposite side, I've listened to the opposite side, and we both knew coming into this we're both going to still disagree.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree.
But that's okay,
but that's what life's about. If the whole world
okay.
agreed with everybody, it'd be a boring place, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fucking hell of a boring
we
place.
can't just sit and agree with everything, but I'm not one of these ones. You know the way they get these ones, and yes, you'll go and you'll protest and you'll do this and do that. I'd love to protest, but I don't think it's going to get you very far. Me, I'm personal. Sit down and write that email and write that. I think things like that work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're different. You might want to go out and do a wee protest, and that's the way you deal with things, and that's fine.
Yeah, each to their own.
Each their own, as long as it works and it gets the right.
I think we just need to understand we can't live in a utopia. You know what I mean? It's not possible and it's not achievable.
No,
everyone's not going to agree with you, and everybody's not going to like you. And so fucking what?
No, but
the important thing is you like yourself.
But I also wanted to come here to show the people that you're not this big fucking oogie man that fucking hates
really
people. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not that sort of guy.
No,
do you know what I mean? It's.
I have a resting cunt face, and like.
You said that, not me. Now. You fucking said that. Came out of your mouth, not mine.
I look at it daily, and like as you know, I haven't went out of my way to misgender or anything today.
You haven't? I appreciate that. I actually do appreciate that.
I took this conversation with respect that it's due, because it's an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
If more people would actually sit down and talk about their differences, as opposed to like throwing comments and whatever online, like have the intestinal fortitude to have a conversation with people. You know, the art of conversation is dead, and conversation is what heals people. You know, people are suicidal because of lack of conversation and lack of interaction. We're living our lives online, guys, and I know that's ironic coming from a podcast that's about to ask you to like and subscribe and all the rest. That was a good segue. But what I will say just in closing is thank you very much, Shane.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Gentleman.
Thank you.
As I said, neither of our opinions have changed, but not one single bruise, black eye, scuffed knee or anything.
All right.
No raised voices, no tears, nothing.
Not a problem.
Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in to the Belfast Podcast. And if you want to get in touch, just drop us an email. Here's the website, and like and subscribe.
Come and get something to eat here too, because the food's great.
The food is fantastic.
The food is great.
Yo, you know who it is. Griddle's hot, rumors fly, but the bap's still banging. Let's